In the last lesson, we finished posing out the extremes for this animation. So now what we're going to do is adjust the timing of those actions to show weight and tension. We want to keep in mind weight and timing as well, because timing is going to define the weight in the scene. And this weight that our character is lifting is pretty heavy, so we want to ask ourselves, at what time should our actions take place? And what we saw from the play blast in the last lesson is that these actions are happening a little bit too fast, so they do need to be adjusted. So first off, let's double click our range slider so we can bring it back to our start and end frame of our project. And what we want to do is just start from the beginning again and just hit play to get a feel of our timing and what we need to do to fix it. So we'll go through. Okay, so it's happening pretty quickly. So what we'll do is start working from this second pose and work our way down until we've edited the timing of the last pose. So let's go to this first pose on frame 10. We'll shift select it, and let's marquee or shift select all of our keys from there. So we just hold shift and left mouse button, click and drag till we get to our last key. And with all of these keys selected, we'll just start delaying our timing. So we'll slide it a little bit to the right. So we'll slide it so the second pose is now on frame 23. And if we now hit play, let's see how the timing is now. Okay, I like that timing much better, of where the character is now going down to grab the bar. And one good thing it is to do is actually start back and just continue to hit play and really see if you're satisfied with the adjustments that you made. So that's what we just did. And we'll move on to the next pose, where the character is now lifting or attempting to lift the weight for the first time. And I think this is happening a little bit too fast as well, because what we want to happen is once the character goes down, he's going to prepare himself just for a little while before he actually starts to lift up the weight. So if we start from the beginning of the animation again to get a feel of it and hit play, we can see that that's happening a little bit too fast, this pose. So let's take it, the pose on frame 43. We'll select all of our keys again, and let's start adjusting our timing some more. Alright, let's see how it is on frame 50. So again, we'll start back from the beginning of the animation, hit play. Okay, that's much better. And if we go back and play it again to get a feel, we can see that that timing feels much better, because right now he's going down and he's going to prepare himself for a little bit longer, and then bam, he goes into the pose where he's first attempting to lift the weight. So now we'll work on the next pose. Okay, and I think this timing is a little bit too fast as well, because what we want to do is have tension between the character and this weight to really show the struggle that he's going through. So we'll start back from the beginning and hit play again to get a feel of what we need to do to adjust that next pose. Alright, so let's start delaying it. So we'll select it, key on frame 70. Again, select the rest of the keys afterwards and start adjusting. Let's try here, frame 82. Let's see how that feels. We'll hit play. I'd like to have it delayed a little bit longer. If we go ahead and hit play again, I think it's happening too fast. I'd like to have him really strain to lift this weight up. So let's take this key on frame 82 and we'll select the rest of them, and let's move it back a few more frames to about frame 88. Let's see how that feels. We'll hit play. Okay, I think that's much better now. So now the character is really straining throughout this span of time, and then he goes for a second attempt, and we'll play one more time. Okay, that's much better. So let's go ahead and move on to the next pose, where the character is going for a second attempt to lift the weight. And what we want to have happen is the character really build up his strength, his energy, to attempt to lift the weight for his next try. So this time he's going to put forth all of his effort. So we want to go ahead and delay this key on frame about 108, a few frames back, to really show that he's building up his energy. If we go ahead and start back from about right here, close to the beginning of the animation, and hit play to get a feel, we can see that that's happening a little bit too fast. So we'll take this key on frame 108, shift select it, and drag all the way down. And let's go ahead and adjust it some. Let's see. About right here. 120, about where frame 124. Let's go ahead and hit play from here, see how our animation is looking now. Okay, I think that's going pretty good. I think it's happening a little bit too slow. Let's go ahead and take this key on frame 124 again, and let's just see what happens if we just move it one frame over to the left. So it's on frame 123 now. We'll hit play. Okay, I like that better. So sometimes even one frame can make a difference. And we'll just play it one more time to make sure that we are satisfied with that adjusted timing. Bam. So now, alright, great. So now he's charging himself up. Bam. And then goes into his next pose where he's lifting up the weight. And now we come to where the character is now lifting the weight off the floor. So this key definitely needs to be adjusted, because if it stays at the timing it's at now, it wouldn't really make sense in the beginning of the animation where the character is really struggling. So we want to go ahead and delay this key on frame 143. So again, we'll start back from about the beginning. It doesn't have to be the full beginning at all times, just around it, just to again get a feel of what we need to do to adjust that pose, or the timing that that pose is happening. Okay, so it's happening a little bit too fast. Let's go ahead and select that key on 143 and on, and let's move it down a few frames. Let's try here where the key is now on about frame 149. So we'll start back again, near to the beginning, hit play. Okay, that feels better. So now this timing is making more sense. Okay, because the character is putting forth all of his effort, but he's still going to put forth a struggle before he lifts it off the floor. So that feels better. Let's go ahead and move on to the next pose, and this is where the character is springing up to throw the weight onto his chest, so we definitely need to delay this pose. And what we'll actually have the character do is a few squats before he actually throws the weight up, to build up his to build up the strength and energy to go ahead and throw that heavy weight up. So we'll hit play again to really get a feel of what we need to do to adjust the timing there. So I think this key on frame 169 really needs to be delayed some more. So we'll go ahead and again shift select our keys and begin editing, sliding it down to the right. Let's try here on about frame 188. Let's see how that feels. We'll go ahead and start back from about right here. I like it maybe delayed a little bit longer. Let's go ahead and play it again and see how it feels. Yeah, I'd like to have more time for the character to do some squats. I think this is happening a little bit too fast, also given the amount of weight he is lifting. So let's take this key on frame 188 and let's move it back a few more frames. Let's try 196. Let's see how that feels. Let me go ahead and bring that back to 196. There we go. Sometimes you just have to deselect out of the region of your shift select. So let's go ahead and start back from about here and hit play to get a feel of our timing now. Alright, great. That's much better. So now if we go ahead and play it again, character's doing his squats and then bam, throws the weight up. Okay, so I think that'll be fine for now. And this timing that we're doing, this is not going to be the absolute timing. Like there may be times where we have to even adjust what we're adjusting right now, but now we're just giving ourselves a better view of how the timing should be to show weight in our scene. So let's work on the next pose on the line. So we'll hit play. Okay, so this is the pose where the character throws the weight up onto his chest, and though it should be happening pretty fast, I think this is happening too fast with the time how the timing is set now. So I think this frame needs to be delayed. This key on frame 206 needs to be delayed. So again, we'll hit play to get a feel of how much should be delayed. Let's take it and move it back several more frames. Let's try there 216. Let's see how that feels. Okay, I like that much better. So it is happening pretty fast, but not as fast as it was before. So if we hit play again, character flings up the weight and bam, comes right on top of his chest. So I like the timing there. I think that's making more sense. So move on. Okay, so now we've come to the next pose where the character is throwing the weight above his head. So we definitely need to delay this key on frame 236. So again, we'll start back from a little bit closer to the beginning and hit play. Okay, let's go ahead and delay this key some. So we'll shift select it and let's move it back. Definitely some more spaces. Let's see. Let's try 261. Let's see how that feels. Start back from about right here. Hit play. Bam, the weight's on his chest. Bam, the weight goes up. Yes, I think that's the right timing right there. What we have set now, if we start back again. Bam. So throughout this time, he's going to be preparing himself now to throw the weight up above his head. And what's actually going to happen is there's going to be a pretty slow transition of him rising. Okay, and when he gets to about the peak, then that's when he's going to spring up and throw the weight above his head. Now we come to our next pose where the character is standing upright with the weight above his head. So we also need to delay this key, because it should happen a little bit slower than it is right now. Given the amount of weight and what he's trying to do, he's again going to make sure that he's going to keep himself balanced with that heavy weight above his head while he's pushing himself up to be able to stand upright like he is now. So let's take this key on frame 281 and on, and let's go ahead and adjust it some more. Let's move it some more frames back. Let's try there 298. Let's see how that'll look. Bam, puts the weight up. Bam, stands for. Yeah, I like that. I think that's fine. If we hit play again, let's see. Yeah, I think that'll do. Okay, so we've come to the point where we're adjusting our last pose. And remember, when the weight goes up and the character's standing like this, we want him standing here for a little bit longer because he is excited that he's accomplished what he has. So he's going to be standing there for a little bit longer to show off that he's finally made it, finally gotten that weight above his head. So we want to therefore delay this last pose a little bit longer. Okay, so again, we'll go ahead and hit play to get a feel of what we need to do to adjust that last key. Let's take this key now on frame 318 and let's move it back some frames. Make sure we got it selected, and let's see. Let's try here at frame 340. We'll hit play. Character's standing upright. Bam, throws the weight on the floor. Let me hit play again. I'd like to see this pose delayed a little bit longer. Let's move it about 4 frames back. So we'll make sure it's selected. Let's move it to frame 3, about 344. So we hit play. Bam, the weight goes up, stands up, and throws weight on the floor. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. So now we've got our timing adjusted throughout our entire animation. And again, remember, there may be times where we do adjust the timing of some of these poses. But for now, this is a much better idea of weight in our scene. So now what we can do is another play blast, this time checking out the timing at which our actions are occurring. Here it is. Awesome. So now the timing is adjusted to show weight and tension in the scene. So our next step is to begin smoothing out our animation. And that's what we're going to start to do in the next lesson.